What's going on, everybody? American Football Network here today, and today we're bringing you our Arizona Wildcats preview and prediction video. But before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Help me reach that goal of 850 subscribers by the end of May. We are 2 away, and today is the last day. So let's get that done. Check out the description for links to our podcast website and our college football roundup channel that we do with the football expert. I'll put his card right here in the top right corner. Make sure you check him out, get him to 1,000 subscribers. But let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So pretty solid season for Arizona State last year. They went 5-7 overall, 3-6 in the Pac-12. They won at San Diego State 38-20. They beat North Dakota State 31-28. They beat Colorado 43-20. They won at UCLA 34-28, and they beat Arizona State 38-35. So a few close games there. They also lost a few close ones. They lost to USC 45-37, and they lost to Washington 49-39. So two good teams there. They lost by 8 to USC and 10 to Washington on the road. So not bad games there. They returned their quarterback Jaden DeLora for 272 of 435, 3,685 yards, 25 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. They also returned their running back Michael Wiley, 113 carries, 771 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And they returned their leading receiver Jacob Cowing, 85 catches, 1,034 yards, 7 touchdowns. So a good bit of returning production there offensively. They'll return 8 starters. Defensively, only return 3 starters, so that will be something to watch. As they were also not a very good team defensively last year. I'm looking for the least amount of points they gave up in a game, and it looks like that is 20 to – yeah, they gave up 20 at San Diego State and 20 to Colorado, and that is the least amount of points they allowed all season. Only 2 other games did they allow in the 20s, and everything else was 30-plus. So defense will be something to watch there for Arizona, but offensively, I think they'll be pretty good. So let's see who all they have coming up. So they're scheduled. They start off week 1 against the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. I think that game is going to be a win. I don't think there's much discussion really to have about this one. I think that is going to be a pretty easy win for Arizona and a good way to get off on the right start. Getting off to a good start here in week 1 to give them some confidence. And then next up, you have in week 2 at Mississippi State. I think this game is a loss. I just like Mississippi State's offense too much for this Arizona defense. I don't think they're going to be able to stop them. And I think Arizona's offense is going to struggle a little bit against the Mississippi State defense. And this game is on the road. They did lose 39-17 last year at home to Mississippi State. Mississippi State returns basically their entire team, so I don't like Arizona in this game. Then in week 3, they get UTEP. I think they win this game. Again, not much discussion here. UTEP, not a very good team. They come into Arizona. I think offensively Arizona is going to have a good day, and I think that they will beat the Miners. Then you open up conference play on the road against Stanford. To me, this is a 50-50 game, but I'm going to go with the loss here because I have them winning another 50-50 game that I think they have. So I'm going to give them the loss here at Stanford, but I could see them winning this game. Stanford loses their starting quarterback, Tanner McKee, to the NFL. So off he went. So they'll definitely have some pieces to fill there, but I think on the road early on, and they don't return a whole lot. Stanford doesn't, just 2 on offense, 3 on defense, but they're still a very experienced team. A lot of those guys are seniors and juniors that are stepping into roles now, and so I think Stanford wins this game, but I really could see Arizona winning it, and I really gave it to Stanford because it was a 50-50 game, and I have Arizona winning some more 50-50 games later on. Then they get Washington at home. only lost to 10 on the road at Washington last year. I'll be interested to see if they can keep it close here and play in a tight game here with Washington, maybe push them, but I still think they lose the game. I think Washington's too good, has too much offensively behind Michael Penix, and I think Washington is just the better team here, and I think Arizona is having a nice little building block, but I think that they still have a lot to work on and a lot to get better before they beat a top 15 team like Washington. Then they go on the road to USC, another very tough game, and I think they lose this one. Um, at Washington and USC is what they played last year, back-to-back weeks, October 15th, October 29th, did have a bye week in between the games, but those were the two closest games they played. We'll see if that matches here again, and if they play both of these teams close. But I doubt that they play both of them close. I think USC probably blows them out. Washington maybe. I don't really see Arizona with much of a chance in this one, except for the fact that Lincoln Riley's defenses are always terrible. Let that be hope for Arizona fans that Lincoln Riley's defenses are always terrible. And you played them close last year, although this year will be on the road in the Coliseum. So, USC doesn't have a very good home field advantage, but you're still having to travel, and you don't have the home field advantage either, and they will still have some sort of an atmosphere there. So, still a difficult place to go. Then you go on the road to Washington State. This is another one of those 50-50 games, but I have Arizona winning this one. I think Stanford's got to get a conference win somewhere, and so that's really why I had Arizona losing that game. I think it may be more likely that they beat Stanford, but week 4, we don't really know what either one of these teams is going to be, and it's just going to be whoever happens to play the best that week, not really who the better team is. That's why I went with Stanford. This week, I think, you're 6 games in. This is your 7th game. I think by now you know who you are. You're playing good, and I think that Arizona can go up to Washington State and get the win. Washington State lost their best player in Borghi, and so I believe they lost him. Let me check that real quick. I'm pretty sure Max Borghi left Washington State, and yes, he did. He is no longer there. He's no longer there, and they lose basically all their receivers. They do get the quarterback Cameron Ward back, but I don't know how effective that's really going to be for them. And so I think that Arizona's the better team going into this game. I think at this point in the season, they're going to know who they are, know what roles they have, and they're going to be firing all offense, and I think they'll beat Washington State. Then they get a bye week. Then they get Oregon State, and I think that they lose this game. I just think Oregon State is a little bit better than them, more talent-wise there, and a little bit of a better spot. I think Oregon State's going to be a top 15, top 20 team. And so I think Oregon State has just enough to get past Arizona on the road. I think this will be a closer game, but I don't think Arizona comes out on top. Then you have UCLA at home. I think you bounce back and you win this game. I don't really know what Dante Moore is going to look like this season. UCLA isn't a very talented team necessarily. They don't have a whole lot for the most part, and so I'm going with Arizona in this game. I just don't like UCLA really as a whole. They lose their quarterback, which is the big piece in Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but they only return 3 starters on offense. They returned their 3rd receiver and Cam Brown. They returned their center and their right tackle. They have to replace everybody else. Defensively, they return 7 people, but they lose basically the whole back half of their secondary. They do return 2 corners, but they lose most of that, and they lose most of their front as well. Their defensive front. They keep both their linebackers. They run a nickel, so they keep both their linebackers, but they lose 3 of their 5 defensive backs, and they lose 2 of their 4 defensive linemen. So I think UCLA loses a lot, especially offensively, has a lot to replace, and I think Arizona gets the win here. Then they go on the road to Colorado, and I think that they win this game, and I don't think it's particularly close. I get all the hype around Dion and Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter, but I don't think that any of that is going to translate year one. I still think Colorado's a 3 or 4 win team. I just don't see them doing a whole lot. Like, they still don't have a whole lot of talent. They're going to be short on bodies with all the guys transferring out that Dion forced out of the program. They're going to be short on bodies, so I don't see Colorado having a very good season. And I think that Arizona goes and gets the win. Then you get Utah at home. I think you lose this game. Cameron Rising just going to be too much in that Utah defense that is very fierce. Probably the best defense in the Pac-12. I think Utah will blow Arizona out in this game. Just like they did last year, winning 45-20 at home. Utah did. So this year they go on the road to Arizona, but I think that the Arizona will lose this game by 20-plus points. Then you get the rivalry game with Arizona State to close out the season. It's on the road, but I still think you come away with the win. I just think Arizona's in a much better spot than Arizona State. They have themselves pretty well figured out going into the season, a lot better than Arizona State does. I like Arizona better in this matchup, and I think that they'll get the win. But that wraps today's video up. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Help me reach 850 subs by the end of May. Check out the description for links to the podcast website and our College Football Roundup channel. I appreciate everybody watching. Let me know what you thought down below, and I'll see you.